Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Kirsty's Kitchen. Last week we made my mum's chicken pie recipe and this week we're going to take inspiration from my queen Dolly and her sister Rachel. They've got their own cookbook. We're going to do Dolly's meatloaf recipe. Now I've never made this version of meatloaf before, so it could be a total shit show or it could be very yummy. Let's see. Okay, so I've got the recipe here. I'm going to tweak it a little bit because, as I mentioned in last week's episode, I'm a little bit fussy when it comes to different foods. So I'm going to tweak it to how I know I will like it. Something I've never ever put in meatloaf before is oats and evaporated milk. Don't know how it's going to go, but that's in Dolly's recipe. So she says to crack 2 eggs. So we're going to do that. Okay, this might be strange, but whenever I crack eggs, I always have to get rid of the really gross, I call them spermy things. It's on the wrist action, ladies. Maybe I should start an OnlyFans. There's some sickos out there that get off on watching someone beat eggs. Okay, so the eggs go into, this is just a can of evaporated milk, so I'm going to tip that in there. Then we've got 3/4 cup of oats. I've put that into the food processor choppy thing. Literally for like 3 seconds because it grinds it up really fast. So we don't want it too fine, apparently. I'm just going by the recipe. I'm going to pour that into there. So it says to let this soak for 15 minutes. So I'm just going to stir it around. The Dolly's recipe says to throw in some raw onion into the mince, but I want to have more of a caramelized onion flavor. So I'm going to just fry it up a little bit first with a little bit of olive oil and some garlic. Okay, so while waiting for the onion to brown up with the garlic, it's time to have, what do they call it? A fridge cigarette. I should be sponsored by Coca-Cola, just saying. So while our oats are still soaking in the evaporated milk, our onion is browning, we're going to make up the meatloaf mixture. So I just washed my hands, and I also should mention this is around the time you should be preheating the oven. I've preheated mine to about 220. Okay, so I've got 500 grams of premium beef mince here. I got this from the butcher because I'm not really a big fan of the mince they sell at the major supermarkets. I think Dolly's recipe actually says to use a little bit more. She talks in ounces and pounds. I can't understand that. So anyway, I just did 500 grams. So we're going to put that into the bowl like that. Now Dolly's recipe also says to put in some black pepper, some salt, some onion powder. So I've got that in here. I'm going to put that in the bowl as well. Now I'll add in the onion that I browned up with the garlic. Now Dolly's recipe has a sauce that is meant to go in here, which is a mixture of ketchup and mustard and some sugar, but I'm not a huge fan of tomato-based sauces. I prefer barbecue-based sauces when it comes to meat. So I'm going to use some sweet Baby Ray's, hickory and brown sugar. Now it says to use 1/4 cup of sauce, but I'm just going to guess because, as I said, I might be using less mince and I don't know, I don't want it to be a bit too sloppy. And okay, I'll be honest, I'm not sure about this oat mixture, what's going on here, but it's Dolly's recipe, so I'm going to trust you, Dolly. Don't let me down. I don't think I'm going to need this much because it's just going to be a big sloppy wet mess. I think I'm going to try and strain this because it just seems like too much liquid. Okay, I've strained the oat mixture and I mean like that's a lot of liquid that would be going into there. So I don't know, maybe Dolly was stoned with Willy when she was writing this recipe, or I'm just doing it totally wrong. I don't know. But we're going to put this in here. I think this is even too much. Anyway, let's just see. This could be a total fucking train wreck. I'm going to mix that in. You might have to get in there with your hands. This could be another OnlyFans episode here. Yeah. So I'm going to sidetrack a lot from Dolly's recipe now because her recipe calls just to put the meatloaf mixture into the pan, straight into the oven, but I'm going to wrap mine in bacon because why wouldn't you? First, I'm going to just do a little bit of sauce, line the dish with just a little bit of sauce, just like this. Now we're going to take some bacon. I don't know about you guys watching, but I'm kind of ruined when it comes to bacon because I used to just eat the normal cheapo bacon that we would have as a kid. And then one day I tried this really nice fancy smoked bacon and it ruined it for me. I can no longer go back to normal bacon. And I know I sound like a snob saying that, but I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't gamble. So this is my luxury, is this smoked bacon. So I'm just kind of lining the pan like this, can you see? So that's going to be sort of like an outer shell for the meatloaf mixture. Okay, okie dokie, now that that's like that, I'm going to get the mince mixture. We're just going to put it in here. We're going to mold it into the shape of the dish. Might try and fold down these bits of bacon. I'm going to put some on top. Now I'm just going to put a little bit more sauce, not too much, just over that so that it's covered top and bottom. Now we're also not thinking about calories when we're making this dish at all. So if you need to run a few extra laps tomorrow, so be it. It'll be worth it. What are you doing now?
See if I can come out.
You can come out. Okay, make yourself useful. Can you come and film me putting this in the oven, please, Dolly?
What?
Huh? What?
Go. Is that wine meant to be in there?
Okay, back to the meatloaf. We're going to put this in the oven now. As I said, I preheated to about 220 degrees. Dolly says to put it in for about 45 minutes, but we'll see. So while the meatloaf is in cooking, I'm going to boil up some potatoes. Once they're done, throw in some butter, some salt, and give it a good mash. And of course, don't forget to lick the spoon. Okay, I put on my Jimmy Jams because I was freezing my tits off. It's bloody cold. Got the meatloaf out of the oven. I don't know how this is going to go. I'm a bit worried it's going to be shit. I would normally put the weird oats and evaporated milk into my meatloaf. And I'm worried it's going to make it a sloppy mess. But we'll see. Here we go. I'm going to tip it over.
Where are you tipping it over?
On the fucking plate.
Are you sure?
Where else do you want me to tip it over?
All right.
Actually, no. Wouldn't it be better if I go like this?
Ah.
Alright. Bit worried this is going to look like a dead body. A big slappy bitch.
Ooh, looks good.
Actually, it looks alright, but I would prefer if the bacon was a little bit crispier on the outside. Right, let's put a little bit more sauce on it. That's what we're going to do. Oh, looks better already.
Cheers.
That's how we do it. Do I make you horny, baby? Radio. Fuck yeah. Now we're cooking. Oh yeah, that's better. Woo. How thick you want your meatloaf? Here we go, here we go. Actually looks pretty bloody good. Nice and moist. You like your meatloaf moist, don't you, Jess? Now all the hard work is done, serve up the meatloaf with your favourite veggies and get it in your belly.